All right, folks, welcome to the Give Me Five segment. And today, I want to talk about something that happened at Madison Square Garden last week. It was at a Knicks game, and former Knicks great Charles Oakley was involved in a, shall we call it, a brouhaha, as they like to say in sports. Let's run the tape here. Charles Oakley, you'll see him stand up. The security guards approached him. He was sitting in his seat, and they asked him to leave. And he doesn't like that. Watch this. Watch Charles Oakley. Watch him take a swing at the security guard. Watch, watch, watch. Now, Charles Oakley and the owner of the Knicks have had a rough relationship in recent years. Now, they're asking him to leave, and he's in the security guard's face. And there he goes, takes a swing at him. And then he says, get your hands up. And then he hits another security guard and pushes him again. You just can, then they got to basically carry him out. And he was arrested, ladies and gentlemen. He was arrested by the police. You can't do that. You can't slap a security guard. You can't punch a security guard. You can't do it, which is why he was arrested and charged. Yet, the sports world and the sick world, like Al Sharpton's world, which we'll get to in a second, they're wearing I'm with Oakley t-shirts. They're chanting at the Garden, Oakley, Oakley. They're taking his side. Even though the world saw him do what you just saw him do. It is outrageous. Now, to his credit, James Dolan, who runs Madison Square Garden, owns Madison Square Garden, owns the Knicks, owns the Rangers, went on the Michael Kay show on ESPN Radio and the Yes TV network and said this.
You know, we need to keep the Garden a place that's comfortable and safe for everybody who goes there. Mm-hmm. So anybody who comes to the Garden, whether they've been drinking too much alcohol, they're looking for a fight, they're abusive, disrespectful to the staff and the fans, they're going to be ejected and they're going to be banned. Because everybody has a right to come to that game, to come to those games and enjoy them. And no one has the right to take that away from everybody else. And in this case, that did happen. And so we are, we are going to, put the ban in place. And hopefully, won't be forever.
So he banned Charles Oakley from Madison Square Garden. Rightfully so. I don't care what the culture says. I don't care what the lunatics say. The man swung and hit security officers. Now, why was he thrown out? That's debatable. There's been this ongoing thing between Charles Oakley and Dolan for a while now. But there are other reports that you could look up of times when Charles Oakley has gotten into some kind of, brouhaha in other places separate from Madison Square Garden. But I'm not even going to judge him based on that other evidence, if you will. I'm going to stick to the evidence here. Dolan also said this.
Whether it's Charles Oakley or Charles Lindbergh or Charles Dolan, right? Mm-hmm. You do those things, right? You come to the Garden and you behave that way and you abuse people that way, right? And subject people to that kind of behavior, you will be ejected and banned. That is the right thing to do. And yes, I understand that he was a big star and a Knick, etc. But that doesn't excuse people from that kind of behavior.
Absolutely right. He could not be more right. So why do we live in a society where they're making Mr. Dolan the villain and Charles Oakley some kind of hero? Now, why the ejection? What was up with Oakley?
It's very clear to us, right, that Charles Oakley came to the Garden with an agenda, right, with a mission in mind. And from the moment he stepped into the Garden, I mean the moment he walked through the first set of doors, he began with this behavior, abusive behavior, disrespectful behavior, stuff that I don't think you want to say on the radio.
Right.
Right. You probably get thrown out of here for saying that stuff. And it just accelerated and accelerated and accelerated all the way down to his seats, and then ultimately with a confrontation with security, and eventually ending up with his, his being ejected and arrested.
All right. So Al Sharpton waded into this yesterday. Let's put up a statement here. Civil rights leader Reverend Al Sharpton is calling on New York Knicks owner James Dolan to immediately lift the ban against Charles Oakley after conversing with Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams and agreeing that the policy has not been reinforced with other players. Reverend Sharpton is calling upon Mr. Dolan to lift the ban and reinstate Mr. Oakley's privileges. In the event the ban is not lifted, National Action Network's Northeast Regional Director Kristen John Foy is mobilizing people to picket Madison Square Garden in solidarity. Who cares? What happened yesterday? The commissioner of the NBA met with Charles Dolan and, James Dolan and Charles Oakley, and Michael Jordan was on a phone, and they agreed. They all apologized to each other, and Charles Oakley's going to think about if he'll ever come back to the Garden, and Mr. Dolan says he hopes that Charles Oakley will come back to the Garden. I hope it never happens. And I hope it's Dolan that never invites him, even though he said he would. He just doesn't know when. We are a sick society when Mr. Dolan is the villain and a guy who punches and slaps at security guards for all to see is cheered. Now, he went on with Fox 5 New York, Charles Oakley did. Watch.
What was said to you when the security approached you?
Ordered that I had to leave the gym.
Right. And then how did it go down from there? We saw the video. I mean,
I don't know how it went down, but so many guys walked up to me. And I said, okay. I'm thinking to myself, if I was leave the gym, it's the New York police right there. Won't he come over and tell me I have to leave the gym? Not 7 guys and 8 guys in a suit.
Right. Did anybody touch you? I mean, we saw the video.
I haven't, heat of the moment, anything can happen.
In the heat of the moment, anything can happen. But that doesn't excuse it. Now here, this is very revealing. Watch.
Charles Oakley right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. Charles, let's get into what we saw on video. We saw you mush a guy in the face. We saw you push a guy twice, telling him to get his hands off you or whatever. Is there anything about your reactions that you find regrettable today?
I mean, you never want to do nothing to no one in life. But I just, like I said, I've had 7 incidents in the last 6 years. Guys walk up on me. I had an incident in Vegas. I got jumped 2 times. One time it was 8 guys. Next time it was 7 guys. So when people start walking up on me, I never had a rule. I don't let people just walk up on me. Not 8 or 9 guys. One guy, try your luck. 8 or 9 guys, I got to brace myself and be ready for the challenge.
He alluded to past problems there. You heard him. In Vegas, he had situations. So if they sent 1 security guard, that's okay. But if you send 7 or 8, I'm ready for the challenge. It's not a challenge. You have to obey authority. And James Dolan knows this. One more.
They had no right to walk up on me. Send a New York cop, tell Oakley he got to leave. Escort me out the building. I have to respect. It was a cop there. Every time he asked me something, I did it. I did it. You can call the precincts. I told them there. It was the other guy. They went over bounds for no reason. But I'm not going to, I might have touched some guys, but they touched me. So I got a right. So they want to charge me 3 accounts. I have to go to court and see what happens.
You don't have a right. You don't have a right to put your hands on and slap and punch a security guard or security guards. And you don't have a right to come to Madison Square Garden if this is what's going to happen. Mr. Dolan was well within his rights to do what he did. The public should be ashamed of themselves. The Knicks fans should be ashamed of themselves. The media should be ashamed of themselves. Forget Al Sharpton. He'll never be ashamed of himself. And James Dolan did the right thing. And the world went crazy, which leads me to believe we're in a crazy, crazy world.